Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilman Warren White.
But with God, nothing shall be impossible. The sea couldn't stop Moses. The wall couldn't stop Joshua. The giant couldn't stop David. Death couldn't stop Jesus. With God, nothing can stop us for doing the stuff in our district and our city if we believe. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Compared to Jesus.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas.
Present. It's my fault.
It's
It's my fault. It's my fault. I asked him a question.
One night.
It's my fault.
Councilmember Brooke Marcotte. Here. Councilmember Warren White.
Here.
Councilmember Troy Como.
Here.
Councilmember David Merrill. Councilmember Ron Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Dan Darrell.
Here. Public comment. Do we have any cards? No comment cards? All right. Then we go on to item 2A, Madam Clerk.
Acceptance of the minutes, regular meeting of April 15th, 2025, which were published on April 26th, 2025.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there anyone to comment on our meeting of April 15th? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. At this time, I would ask you if we could, I guess we need to expand the agenda. I want to bring up Jake Benoit with Senator Kennedy's office. He's here tonight. Do we need to vote on that, or can I just bring him up? Vote on it? Okay, then I need a motion and a second.
Second.
Councilman Dan Doyle, Councilman Ron Davis. Is there any discussion?
So we're making a motion to expand the agenda for
Yes.
Jake too? Okay.
Yes. Everybody good with that? Then please vote your machines.
Okay. Any public comment?
No?
No? Before that? No?
No?
Okay.
Come on up. Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, thank you for the phone call. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the phone
Very
call.
much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very
Very
welcome.
much.
I'd like to give a little heads up. I didn't want y'all to be surprised.
I think that was very.
That was
very-
awesome.
That was awesome.
I appreciate y'all welcoming me. My name's Jake Benoit. I'm with Senator John Kennedy's office here in Acadiana. I've been with the senator's staff for about 2 years now. I was in our office in New Orleans, but I'm originally from Lafayette, so it's very nice to be back home on some roads that I know much better. I just wanted to come and introduce myself because if there's any way that I could be a resource for y'all, whether that's through grant funding, if we could write a letter of support for anything like that, or any sort of constituent issues such as passports, IRS, Social Security, any sort of federal agencies, I'm happy to be a resource. I'll be out and about at as many events as I possibly can in the community, so I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Senator Kennedy's been a big help to us in the past, and I'm sure, we'll be calling you.
Oh, yeah. Let's continue that relationship.
We will, sir. We will.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, 3A.
Ordinance number 2025-09, an ordinance providing for the levy within the city of New Iberia, state of Louisiana, effective July 1st, 2025, of a 0.25% sales and use tax, the tax upon the sale at retail, the use, the consumption, the distribution, the storage for use or consumption, and the lease or rental of tangible personal property, and the lease or rental of tangible personal property or digital products within the city, and upon sales of services in the city, and for the assessment, collection, payment thereof, and the dedication of the proceeds of said tax, and the purpose for which the proceeds of the tax may be expended, said tax having been authorized at a special election held in the city on March 29th, 2025.
This is our fire tax for everyone who, not to get confused. This is for the fire department. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte and Councilman Troy Como. Is there anyone present to comment? Hearing, seeing none, I need a motion to close.
Moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Thank you. Now I need a motion for the main motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Warren White and Councilman Ron Davis. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, Please vote your machines. Thank you very much. 3B.
Ordinance number 2025-10, an ordinance enlarging the boundaries of the city of New Iberia, Louisiana, and amending the charter of the city of New Iberia.
This is the Iberia property that we're annexing, which is for a yet unnamed future commercial development. Do I have a motion to open a public hearing?
I move. A second.
Councilman Troy Como and Councilman Warren White. Is there anyone here from the public to discuss this item? Hearing, seeing none, I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman Brooke Markcott, thank you. Now I'm looking for the main motion.
Move. Second.
Councilman Troy Como, Councilman Warren White. Is there any discussion on this ordinance? Yes, sir.
I just want to point out, I painted out some aerial photographs that show the 5 pieces of land we're dealing with. The first page is the big one, and then there's some smaller pieces that are up on the highway. Because I think one of the councilmen last time said they wanted to see a map of what we're annexing.
Yes.
So,
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I see a couple of pieces of property has some homes in it.
Mhm.
Does that gonna affect those people that live in there?
They all are under purchase agreements. They all, of course, know that's coming. They've all been notified. So those homes will go away with this, and that is going to be some part of the commercial development.
So do we come back to make those pieces of property commercial? Are they residential now?
Yes, sir.
they're zoned in the parish now.
Correct.
And we got all the landowners, all the resident voters. So we have everybody's signature on our petition. So nobody's being forced in.
And we had a meeting with Parish President Richard and his counsel, his lawyer, and not his counsel, his lawyer, and they totally are in support of it. They're good with it, so that will move forward. They will take it up on their end and say that they're not holding it up because they need to do that. So they will take it up. We vote on this, they'll vote on their end that they're fine with the zoning change.
So we'll be changing that not only to the city limits?
Yes, first thing we gotta be in the city, then we had to get blessed by the parish. Then we, will have a zoning change. The developer has some, he's gotta do his end. Then they'll come back to us and we'll probably be forming an economic development district and we will enter into an agreement because we will be giving them some incentives like we did with the Love's Truck Stop. So there's a lot of steps left, but these are the first steps.
Cool, thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
And we're bringing it in as part of District 3
Yes.
and zoned as C4.
Yep.
And now,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
and if I'm correct me wrong, it takes the same precedence as Love's. It cannot be in the TIF because it's already in the parish's TIF, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Any of this could be double tiffed, but now we're getting ridiculous.
That's
In
correct,
other
yeah.
words, we are electing as a city not to do that. Because we could. They already have an existing TIF district.
I thought.
We could put another layer on top, but where do you stop?
No.
So we elected not to. I wish we could, because the TIF dollars gives us these incentives, and I know what TIF dollars are supposed to be used for.
Sure.
You're supposed to use them in the area you collect them, and they go back to make more business. So my problem that we will face at some point is some of this, that we would have liked to have had the TIF. The parish already has it, but again, you put an extra layer on it, and now you're starting to make people that, uncompetitive.
So, I mean, the hearsay that the parish is losing tax revenue is not really correct because they are still maintaining that TIF tax for the parish.
Correct.
When they've been-
Correct,
yes.
correct. If our unnamed, not unknown.
Whatever
if
it
our-
is, and I didn't say
yeah,
name.
if our company that is unknown does $20 million in sales a year, okay? The city will collect about $1 million a year in taxes, and the parish will collect $800,000. Because it has a TIF tax, a recreation tax, and another small tax that it collects.
Mosquito control.
Yeah, mosquito
But
control.
we calculated the money, so we would be bringing in $1 million in sales tax, they'd be bringing in 800. Now, we hustled the deal for many years and worked with the developer, and we also are giving some incentives, which is TIF money. So it's a worthwhile venture for all of us, and I really want the jobs for our people. I want the quality of life because the things that are gonna come, it's gonna be more than one store. It's gonna be some things that we don't have. Anyway. Anybody else?
Seems like a pretty good deal, 800,000, and you don't have to put anything up.
Well,
That's the way it goes.
And they get very little right now.
No, that's right. That's what I'm saying, so.
So-
think
so it's a
Mayor-
win for everybody.
That's
Let's-
exactly right.
Yeah, it's a win for
It is,
everybody.
it is.
It is.
it.
It's a win.
So Mayor, in other words, it's more of an economic development district.
It is
and not a
totally,
TIF.
yes, yes, it's commercial, but the way the TIF districts roll is you use them to develop your commercial corridors. So it's all, this is all about, this is economic development at work. I mean, small-time economic development, small-town economic development, but yes, it is. Everybody good? Then I'd ask you, please vote your machines. Thank you. This is a big step. We've been talking to the Iberia family. I've been the mayor for 8 years. We've been talking to them for 7 years. So this has worked, and it will work. Thank you very much. All right, Madam Clerk, 4A.
Resolution number 2553, a resolution approving the updated administrative plan for the Housing Choice Voucher Program for the city of New Iberia.
Great. Good evening.
Evening.
Hey, Haley.
Hey, so I'm here again. Well, last summer, I was here with our administrative plan. We updated it to include the new HOTMA regulations, and that's the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act. But HUD was not ready for those changes to go into effect in 2024. So they're supposed to go into effect sometime in 2025, but it's still up in the air. So we had to update our administrative plans again to include chapters where some chapters will have two parts. So you'll have Part A, it'll include the policies we have right now, and Part B will include the new policies for the future, whenever that HOTMA does go into effect.
Okay.
So do y'all have any questions regarding? I know we sent out the email of the administrative plan. It's like 900 pages.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
there's a lot of information in there.
Questions, comments?
I do.
Sure.
I did receive your email. Of course, like you said, there's a lot of information to decipher. I'm just curious, in your take, I'm sure you had a chance to go over it, and you're much more familiar than I am. What changes do you see in particular that may most impact us on HUD?
So I think it's going to be in the best interest for the participants. So right now, if their income goes up, we would have to make a change right then and submit it to HUD. But now we can wait till their annual recertification, so they don't have to, their rent won't go up right away. So that's a change that will go into effect once HOTMA is in place. And the new inspection standards, we actually started that in January of this year. The inspection standards are a lot stricter now. So that's going to help with our tenants.
With the changes that you see coming, has funding been impacted?
No,
No.
funding's
Okay.
been the same. We're still actually waiting to get our official funding for 2025. We normally would have that by April of, around April, but it's been still up in the air. But it should be around the same that we receive every year.
Yeah. Done? Yes, sir.
So Haley, can you elaborate on the inspection standards? Because, I'm getting several calls on HUD housings that have been in pretty poor conditions and the rent going up, and there was one what are the improvements in inspection, and can we see maybe a improved curb appeal in the city with HUD 8?
So our landlords received notification, so now they have to make sure there's smoke detectors in each bedroom, carbon monoxide detectors. The inspection doesn't just stop with the inside, it also goes to the exterior now. Even communities that may have clubhouses and amenities like laundry facilities, we have to inspect those as well. So, yeah, there's a lot more that we're gonna look at and enforce when we go out there to do our inspections. Not just the inside of the unit. So we consider when they want to ask for an increase, we have to go out and redo our rent reasonable. We go back and inspect the property, and the landlord has to make those repairs. And if they just
agrees.
right, so if they don't want to make the repairs, like I have something going on right now, then we're going to move the tenant.
So curb appeal could be economic development with the new way it's going.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Right.
you get more money if you fix it
But I
up.
do find some
I like
that
that.
don't want to make the repairs, and we just
I-
move
and-
on with
And
someone
I know the
else.
one you're dealing with because they calling me as well.
Yeah,
so.
I know who you,
Oh,
I know
know?
who you're
Okay.
talking about.
All right, so that's fine. We won't, but, so, that's
I'm
good.
moving on with that one.
Okay, but, so who does the inspection?
So we have an inspector now on site. Her name is Felicia. She's part-time with us, so she'll do the inspections or myself.
All right.
So I usually go check out the new properties, and I also, we have quality control inspections where I take a sample of 10 units a year, and I'll do the quality control if she did the standard annual inspection.
We're still growing.
Yep. No,
Yeah.
I like
Great
the
thing.
idea of
It's a
better
great thing.
inspections. I think that's a great move.
Yeah, I mean, they changed to where you can now do biannual inspections. We're not doing that. We're still going to have annual inspections. There's, you can also approve the landlord to have like remote electronic inspections where they can actually just go and do like virtual inspections for you and send it in. We're not doing that. We're going to be there on site, and we're going to continue to do what we've been doing.
Good deal. Hands-on approach. I'm done.
Everybody good? Anybody else? All right, I never got a motion, so,
So moved.
I need a motion. I got a motion.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, and a second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. So with that, any discussion? Everybody good?
And I do have a list of the Inspire standards if you guys would like me to send it out.
Sure,
So
email
you're
it.
kind of familiar with it too.
Please.
I know there's a lot of information in that book, but we have it broken down.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all you do.
Sure, thank y'all.
If y'all don't mind, please vote your machines. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank
you. 4B,
Resolution number 2554, a resolution awarding contract to Buford Roofing and Construction LLC for the American Rescue Plan Act One Block at a Time One, Home Repairs for Seniors, Low Income and Disabled Communities Project, asphalt shingle roof replacements, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
these next two items kick off our one block at a time, which was some of our ARPA money that we had, to spend, that we dedicated to do this project last year, and these are the first bids. Before we go to hear from David, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilman Dan Dahl. Hey, man, how are you?
Good evening.
Evening.
So, last Wednesday, we accepted the bids for the asphalt shingle roof replacement project. That's 13 houses that we evaluated and we put out to contractors to provide pricing for, on the public bid market. Buford Roofing and Construction was the low bidder on this. We had 5 bids for this project in particular, and they came in under budget, and at an amount that they felt comfortable with proceeding with. So we contacted the roofing company, and they were good with their price. So now we're asking for a recommendation to award, and y'all to vote on it so we can proceed with the contracts.
Questions, comments?
So what if they pull the shingles off and find some rotten material underneath and they gotta increase the cost of, the
We
job?
have an allowance.
You have
We
an allowance, but-
We
We
have
have a
a
contingency
contingency allowance.
for that. You see, we are originally budgeted 300,000
Correct.
for this, and he came in at 127. Yeah. So are we gonna spend that amount? Probably not, but we probably definitely will come across some things.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's only so much we can see, and until we actually uncover it. But they're gonna take a process of getting into the attics of these houses, evaluate to see if they could see something from the inside, from the attic, and then if there is something, they're gonna have material ready. These roofs are gonna take 1 to 3 days to change out, so it's gonna be a very fast process. We wanna make sure they got that material ready. We wanna make sure they understand what the weather is like, so that they don't expose the roofs. So, we have a game plan established for it.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Somebody else? Yes, sir.
I had my concerns looking at those numbers of the bids as they came in. I understand Buford was the low bidder, but considering some of the other numbers, that was double that amount, and that Buford was out of Grapevine, Texas, and the other ones were more or less local, I believe.
No, Buford's in Lafayette.
Is Lafayette?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I tried to do a little research on it, but anyway, okay, that's Lafayette, okay.
Yeah. We asked him about that. He really wanted the projects. He kind of
Okay.
saw these as groups with the other bid too, and so that's kind of why his number was lower.
So comparatively, apples to apples,
Yeah.
more or less,
Yeah,
okay.
they gotta meet specs, so.
And he definitely factored in when we listed things that we saw that looked like there was damage, because we did list things that said, look, there's a concave in this roof, or this roof has tarps on it. It's probably gonna be, he factored all that into the bid too. So, you know, what we saw is what he put into his pricing.
And remember, it's all public bid, so public bid, if they are a qualified bidder, you take the low bid.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 10 grand a house.
Yeah,
That's not
and
out of
and a
it.
lot of these
Yeah,
houses
which-
are
You do the
very-
math.
Which
that's
is
what I saw.
pretty much
Yeah.
what David and I budgeted. The rest of
Yeah.
that money is the contingency just to make sure, because we're opening up people's houses, we gotta make sure we
Right.
have enough.
Yeah.
But when we did our budget, you know, we kinda took that in consideration.
A lot of these houses are very simple roof shapes, just either a simple hip or just a gable. So, you know, that's a lot of economy in it too. And you gotta realize this guy's got 13 houses, you know, there's
Yeah.
some economy in that too. So he's gonna go and approach each house individually in a sequence, and we have a list that we'll review with him on what houses go first and things like that. Some houses do require some extra carpentry work, and he has that all factored in, so, like I said, it's 1 to 3 days per house, so they're gonna
1
work
to 3
quick,
days.
Well, that's good.
very quick, yeah.
Anybody else?
I got one more question.
Oh, sure.
Okay, we've incorporated hurricane proofing houses and stuff along that line. So, I mean, we're only talking about re-roofing a shingle roof as such. Do we do anything with to maintain or meet that standard, help to meet that standard, you know, of the quality of roof that we're getting here?
So we requested that the roofs be installed to meet the wind load requirements for this area.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, sir.
Yeah, for the type of structure it is. Mhm. And that's kind of a standard that roofers have to follow anyways, but we emphasized it.
Anybody else? Then I'd ask you please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk? 4C.
Resolution number 2555, a resolution awarding contract to Buford Roofing and Construction LLC for the American Rescue Plan Act, One Block at a Time 1, Home Repairs for Seniors, Low Income and Disabled Communities Project, sheet metal roof replacements, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Brooke Marcotte, and this time Councilman Ron Davis. David?
All right, so at the same bid opening, about 15 minutes later, we did the bid opening for the sheet metal roofs on these houses that we have 1 block at a time. There was 13 of them that got bidded, and Buford was the low bidder on this one too, by about $500. So his bid was very close to the next one up. Similarly, he felt comfortable with it. The sheet metal roofs are gonna come after the asphalt roofs. So
Same contractor.
same contractor, 2 different contracts, but same contractor. But he's gonna do the sheet metal after he does the asphalt shingle, so.
How we stood on the budget on this one?
This one, we were kind of
Last page.
anticipating 350. So, again, it's lower.
Ooh, Lord, people are hungry.
We had a lot of participation and interest in this project, being that roofing is a very prevalent business around here, and these guys were able to bid direct, so they didn't have to worry about going through contractors, general contractors. So you have a lot of subs to work with, and it makes it easy to get good pricing.
Questions, comments? Everybody good? Please vote your machines. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
4D.
Resolution number 2556, a resolution awarding contract to Alonzo LLC for the City of New Iberia Concrete Streets Repair Project, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
This is our second contract that we let on our $17 million road program. If you remember, we did $2 million for the asphalt reconstruction. This is $3,700,000. And the next bid will be the asphalt overlay, which is coming. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Turn it over to you.
All right, so we took bids on the 24th of April. I'm sorry, that's when we issued it. We got 8 bids this go round.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more than the last project. Several were over budget, but the low bidder is quite a bit under budget at $3,734,887.
Yep.
I did question some of his line items to make sure he was good with the pricing, to make sure he didn't misunderstand. He said he was good. He verified that he had no issues. He submitted all his paperwork. He has all his licenses, his bonds, everything checks. He's a relatively young company, doesn't have much of a footprint, but he's from Kenner. So he did come to the office to drop off his paperwork, and we had a face-to-face conversation.
Good.
So he said he's good to go with the project, so.
Hey, I was a new contractor. I was a new contractor
I know.
once, you
I
know,
know. Young and hungry.
yeah, I mean,
That's how I roll.
Am I
I
looking,
rolls one at a time. Yes, sir.
am I looking at it wrong, but this is significantly cheaper per square foot than the first contract we did on concrete. Does it look that-
I didn't run the per
S-
square foot numbers.
Looks-
It may be,
It seems like a very, very,
'cause this project is more square yards than.
Yeah.
that's what I looked at.
and
Definitely.
We were almost at 4
That's-
million on the last one.
Yeah, so when I just said, you know, it seemed like a very reasonable price.
I mean, you had 2 locals bid the job, they were within $5,000 of each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I consider this a pretty good bid, outcome. Just, you have somebody come in that's wants a job more than the next guy. So, I mean, everything checked, I double and triple checked to make sure everything was kosher, and he checks all the legal boxes.
Good. Yes, sir.
So when they break the concrete out, and they go back and put the, I guess they still use wire, I don't know if they do or not.
No, if we reinforce concrete, it's with rebar.
Rebar mat.
Rebar. Okay, so then you're inspected prior to them pouring, right?
Yeah, but we're there on site every day. They break it out, they have to muck out. We have to put 6 inches of stone underneath.
Right.
And most of the concrete in the city is 6 inches or so less. We put 8 inches of concrete back everywhere. Some of it's reinforced, some of it's not, depends upon the situation. We reinforce anything that's irregular shaped, like at intersections. If we have everywhere there's a tree problem that messed up the road now, we reinforce that back. If we have some drainage structures that are shallow in the road, we reinforce those. It's a situational thing, but we pretty much outline those ahead of time.
Over the years, I always was amazed about, okay, they put the cylinders to check the concrete to make sure it's the right strength or whatever. When they pour it, and it might be, how long before they check that?
Got
So
it.
they have to stay on site until the next day, because you want them to cure the
Right.
same as the concrete on site, but we test at 3. Typically, we take 5 cylinders for every pour. We do a 3-day break to see if we can get an early strength. If we don't get an early strength, then we'll go again in 5 days. And typically by the 5th day, we have enough strength where we can open a road and they can shift things around.
So you ever seen it where it didn't meet the criteria, the specs, and had to take it out?
Never take it out, because it has to, the specifications say 28 days. So you have to meet your strength at 28 days. It's been close at 28 days, but it's always passed. I've never had one in a city project where it didn't pass.
I don't know, like you mentioned, if we give them more days, if it doesn't meet, or how that works. 'Cause I know every pour could be different, right?
Yeah, I mean, but
Depending on-
typically we poured a lot of concrete. The concrete plants, we had some issues on the last project early on Ann Street where it was breaking low. But by the time we got to 28 days, you just wasn't getting a high early. Yeah, but at the 28th day, it was at spec. So, but
They control the concrete mix.
Yeah.
They improve every.
So
every
that's
part
how
of
it
it.
determines how long the area will be closed?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I was.
Right, right. And we're breaking it, one, to make sure we get
Right.
what we're paying for, and that it meets it, but also when we can open the road.
Right, good.
average 5 days, historically 5 days, we can move things around. Because it only has to be 3,000 PSI.
Right.
Before we can let cars on it.
Yeah.
So that's typically how it's going.
Cool.
Sometimes it's been a little longer, but rarely more than 7 days.
Okay, thank you.
How much does weather
Sir.
impact this? Sorry. You know, like maybe in the rainy season and such, and of course you got to pick your time to pour and all that stuff.
And the weather is definitely a factor, but the way we do these contracts, they're not calendar day projects, they're work day projects. So If it's raining today, if it rains in the morning, they can't work, we don't charge a day. So that's factored into the contract times. But typically, I mean, as long as they have the stone down, you know, the next day they can pump it out and we can pour up, the next day after that. So typically, when they open up the hole, we do a inspection, they do a compaction, make sure that it's good, that we don't have any sub-base issues, and they're bringing the stone in right behind it. And typically, we don't have much issues with that. I mean, realize they're not gonna rip out a whole road, it's gonna be a lot of hopscotching, they're only gonna work certain areas. I mean, they can't just go open up all kind of stuff, because I mean, it's not functional. You know, the best way to do this is in small segments. You know, you basically checkerboard a road and you keep moving. And you typically work in 2 zones at a time. That way you always have somewhere you're digging and somewhere you're pouring.
Everybody good? And I'd ask you please vote your machines. Thank you very much.
The last project, we are finishing that one up and we're looking to go out to bid around the 20th.
And that is for our asphalt
Patch and overlay.
patch and overlay, which is the biggest part of our
It's
project.
gonna be-
Good, good,
It's over 6 million,
yeah,
estimated over 6 million,
Yes.
6.2.
good, good. Can't wait.
Start date?
All right.
Do we have an estimated start date? Did I miss that?
No, this one here, I mean, from here, I'm gonna get him the contract, he's gotta do all his contract, his insurance. Typically, we're about 60 days from the time you approve it at this meeting till the time for them to show up. On the reconstruction project, we had that pre-construction meeting last week. Their notice to proceed is gonna go out Friday. They gotta do all the sampling, they're trying to get that lined up. They're talking about doing that on the weekends, just because it's easier for them. But that's about 30 days of testing to get that all done before they get results so we can start construction. So, but that is gonna start here shortly.
Good,
All righty?
good.
Thank y'all.
Everybody good?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next item is, I'm gonna ask that we do all our discussion. If you look down on 6A, we have a bunch of stuff to put up and a bunch of things to talk about all the flooding incidents we've had and where we're going. What's that? Yeah, you're right. Anyway, but this will award, if you allow it, this will award Chandler Staples firm money to go in every area that has flooded, because we've got a bunch of houses that have not flooded before, that flooded in this event. So Chandler is gonna take his firm, he's also bringing in somebody else so that we have some speed, and he is gonna analyze at every house, every area around the city, all the groups that we've been visiting with and going right around and looking at that flooded, so that he can come back with solutions. And we have $1 million in the drainage fund that I could pledge to fix these problems. We have the other money, we have the $3 million in our account for the detention pond, but we got a grant for the detention pond. But I'm not gonna hedge my bet. When the state says that when the core permit's back and the state does the final application approval, which we've been waiting on, then I'll have $3 million more that I can do additional drainage. But if something happens that the state doesn't, you never know, that the state would say you're not getting the grant, well, then we have the $3 million to build the detention pond. So that takes care of another huge issue that we've had with flooding. But this item is to approve Chandler to get going on the engineering. But when we get down further, we got a dog and pony show and all kind of stuff to talk about of all the flooding. We just kind of did it all as one. I mean, I'm not saying you can't ask me questions, but the big discussion will be coming a little further in the agenda. So can I get a motion, please? Oh, you didn't read it. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let her read it. My bad.
Resolution number 2557, a resolution awarding contract to Staples Engineering and Consulting LLC to determine solutions for new areas of flooding throughout the city of New Iberia and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
Now I need a
So
motion.
moved.
Councilman Dan Dawes.
Second.
Councilman Ron Davis.
That's a lot.
Okay, Chandler?
Got any questions for me? I'd be glad to answer them, but just like the mayor said, we're gonna hit the 3 hot spots first. And then anything else we find, we're gonna, as the mayor says, we need to go look in another area, we're gonna go see what we can figure out.
I just think the sooner the better.
Oh, we know
You
that.
know, I know the residents definitely agree with that as well.
Well, we gave out 10,000, most hurricanes, we almost ever do that. We gave out 10,000 sandbags in the last 2 days.
Now,
So, yeah, we need to move on this as quick as we can.
And you're hanging around for the general
Yeah,
discussion, so that's
exactly,
fine.
yes, sir.
Anybody else have any discussion? We'll just wait till the general discussion? All right, then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, 4F.
Resolution number 2558, a resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute amendment number 1 to an agreement with Third Coast Maintenance LLC for commercial janitorial services at the Public Works Department.
This adds Public Works, we kind of left them off. This adds Public Works to our new janitorial contract. Remember, we switched contractors. Do I have a motion?
Don't move.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilman Ron Davis. I didn't think we were getting one.
I
from
gave him a
them.
chance.
Is there any discussion on this item? Everybody good? Please vote your machines. Thank you. All right, 5A.
Introduction of ordinance number 2025-11, an ordinance amending and reenacting section 86-130 of the City of New Iberia Code of Ordinances prohibiting operation of vehicles in standing water, establishing penalties, and providing for enforcement through electronic surveillance, and setting for public hearing on May 20th, 2025.
So move.
Motion by Councilman
Second.
Dantal, and a second, who is the second?
Second.
Councilman Warren White. This is a direct result of a couple of things. Over the last 4 or 5 flood events, people have been saying, which is true, because sometimes I wasn't here for the last one, but I've been here for quite a few of them, and you're in the road trying to stop people, and they might wave at you, or sometimes they give you the one finger wave, but they go through, they don't slow down, they don't stop. So this last flood event, we had houses that flooded because of the wake, so we now have a way to stop them. Between the $2.3 million crime camera and LPR system, we can catch them. It'll hold up in court. We can use our crime camera system. We can use our LPR readers. And we finally have a way, almost all the cameras are up. They still have about 15 cameras to put up, I guess, maybe something like that, and some LPR readers. How many do we have to put up, Cap? Cool. Oh, good, good. Do we have any more LPR readers to put up? Okay, okay. All right. So we do have them coming. So once our system is up, it's functioning, it's doing a really good job. So we feel we can actually, enforce this. We didn't have a way to enforce it before. We tried to send a couple of cop cars out during this last flood, and now we have a $13,000 bill for a new engine and a few other issues. So anyway, this will be an effective way to stop that. So we wrote this ordinance, and it's open for discussion. Yes, sir.
Okay, I see you have each occurrence, meaning if they pass down the street and they got 5 houses that they put water in, it's per house?
The way it's written right now is per house, and the fine, if anybody's asking, is $1,000.
And secondly, what happens if the homeowner takes a picture of the car, the water, and the license plate? Will that play into it if the camera's not there?
I talked to the chief about it, because I know that I don't have a camera everywhere, okay? But the same way we have to do with crime sometimes, we have a grid of cameras, and we will see you as you travel on your way. Let's just leave it at that. So we keep collecting data on that license plate, and the cameras keep catching them. The chief said as long as they have a clear picture and, plus we will track it with our cameras, because they're gonna go around the block. They might not go far. You might go 2 blocks down, then they'll be caught on one of our cameras. It's reasonable to think that they're not gonna slow down, and if they're being stupid to do this, we're hoping that what happens is we get people's attention. We end up citing a few people, and then people realize they gotta stop joyriding, and they gotta think about the people's houses that they're flooding. But I think that as long as enough, I'm not gonna say every time, as long as enough evidence is built up, we can use electronic evidence, so we think that it will hold up. But remember, like I said, we'll have our cameras and our readers as well. So the combination of them, their information and the information that we're gonna catch, I think it'll hold up.
So the fine goes to the owner of the vehicle or the person driving the car?
We have discussed that, and the one caveat is that we're gonna have to try to get the driver of the car. Now, as with other crimes, I don't think I'm saying anything that it's what a camera does. there are times that you'll get a white SUV and you'll have the license plate, and the first picture might not have the driver, but you catch it at every camera, and you're riding through town, one of those cameras is going to catch who it is. You know, are we set up like those cameras they don't allow, the ones that do, they got rid of them. Red Flex used to take a picture of the front of the car. You know, I mean, I got what I got. I got crime cameras, and that's what I have. But if the homeowner has video, if we catch him, if that same car is en route, and we catch him at another camera that we can identify the driver, that is, we are going to have to identify the driver.
Because if the vehicle is a public vehicle and not.
Oh, look, it's not bulletproof. It's not
But
perfect.
I'm just saying,
I mean,
I want to make sure that, I think if
You mean
the
like it was a
driver
school
gets
bus?
fined, well, I didn't say
or
that.
whatever.
I said-
No, or a garbage
Yeah,
truck. I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not
right.
picking on anybody, but it could be anything.
Because I think the driver, I mean, I have many vehicles
Yeah.
in my business, but I think the driver should be one. I didn't know we had any play in that. That's why I was just asking.
Yeah, no, I do think it needs to be the driver.
Okay.
And is it a bulletproof system? No, but what do we have right now? We have nothing.
Right.
And I think the reason the fine was, and I'm open to any suggestions, you know, to change it. This was a quick stab at it. And I was pissed when I wrote it. I mean, we need to try to do something. So the fine is high, and it's not perfect, but you know, it's something that we haven't had before, and it's a start. I mean, we got to get people's attention. They got to we got to curb that behavior.
Oh, no
And
problem.
maybe stop them from riding around.
One at a time. Yes, sir. Councilman Moore.
Maybe stop them from riding around just to see where the flooding at, and it's not their job to do that, you know?
That's right.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
This is all good discussion, and I think it's very much necessary. I'm gonna be a little devil's advocate here, because I've seen, especially during this last episode of the rain, where, of course, when some of the roads are detoured, people take other avenues, and you may get big trucks passing up the little cars and stuff at a high rate of speed, and now you got a stall out in the middle of the road as well. So I don't know, and I know, looking at this, you haven't taken into consideration to that, you know, but let's say if it's caught on camera, that this is happening, will it be enforced the same as if it was a house? Or could it be?
That's a good point. It could. We had a fire truck swamp out a police car,
Well, I'm not.
which is kind of ridiculous, but
Right.
at the same time, it's the same scenario.
Correct.
Let's talk about it. That's why I brought it.
'Cause, I mean, I saw it happen, you
Yeah.
know, while we cleaning the drains and everything else. I don't know if they're running late or just trying to get somewhere. But, I mean, hey, they full speed ahead, you know. I lost my religion that day, you know. Hey, slow it down, you know. But then you got to start our vehicle, and this was a BMW. Okay, you know, it costs as much as some houses.
I mean, the houses are what I had in mind, and we could always start with the houses and expand. I'm hoping that this is not one, I don't want to do something quick and wrong.
Right.
But I'm hoping this is one that we could get through fairly quickly because, you know, hurricane season's coming. You know, we are hiring an engineer to find solutions to old problems plus some new problems. So I'm afraid it's gonna happen again. So sometimes we, you know, I always think of the garage sale ordinance we tweaked for months and months and months, and then it ended up getting put in the trash. So it is something that maybe we start with something that we can accomplish, and then we look at adding on. I don't wanna pile on so much stuff that we stay in, you know, this phase and never implement.
I brought that up
it's
also,
a good
Mayor,
point.
because, say, in my area, a lot of the houses are on pillows. They're not on a slab. So they may have the same flood condition, but it's not impacting the houses. But you may have where the traffic is detoured down through that area, and you may get a situation like that. So you know, it get caught. So
I understand.
you know, anyhow, just want to bring it to the forefront. And if we have to make changes to it for that reason, maybe
Yes, sir.
we should look at it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I think it's gonna be pretty tough if you have two cars on a flooded street where one doesn't push a wave into the other.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we're worrying about buildings mostly, and we like the cars to stay out of the area, but, you know, that, you're gonna have violations everywhere.
Yeah. Well, you
If a wave can't touch a car.
not saying that, it
Yeah.
causes the car to stop, you know, and
Yeah.
when you're going through the water, you want to keep going. But it's something to look at.
Yes, sir. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I got one comment.
Yeah, sure.
I guess
This is
what
the time.
what I asked you about, number C says the footage from the crime cameras is not limited, but it could be, it doesn't have to be the city police crime cameras. It could be
Correct.
House camera.
Yeah,
house
well,
cameras.
you see, we also have new technology that we paid for that at some point, citizens would be able to tie their home systems into our camera system. So, you know, that's coming, but yes, it could be that.
Because it says not limited
Right.
to,
No,
so
no, it
that
could be
means
theirs.
it could be that.
theirs.
Okay.
I'm just saying we're gonna use theirs in conjunction, because a lot of times it's a Ring doorbell and you don't get the best picture, or you're not out at the street to see it really clearly. But then we'll know that's a white SUV, and then we'll pick them up on our camera.
So we're saying if we do this tonight, we come back to the next meeting, we vote on it, and then it could start.
Yeah, it takes 2 meetings to be an ordinance. This is one that, again, I want your input. This is something that, you know, we wrote in-house and just said, I'm tired of this, we gotta try to do something. I've had 3 neighborhood meetings, one more left, and every time we've brought this up, and these are people who are flood victims, you know, they all thought it was a great idea. We got a lot of calls the last couple of flood events, last year, that people, and every time there's a hurricane, people call and, you know, many of the houses that flood would not have flooded. I mean, the flood is an inch game. You know, we're gonna spend $1 million for Chandler, hopefully to lower some things 2 and 3 inches, but 2 and 3 inches make a difference if your house only flooded by 2 or 3 inches.
Yeah.
So same thing with this, you know, if we can prevent it, I think it's well worth doing. But we have this meeting and next meeting to tweak it. I'm not trying to rush if it takes a 3rd meeting, you know, but if we're ready to go, when it's implemented, we'll be putting it in place.
Kind of off the subject,
That's
because
fine.
the reason I'm asking, because we did have issues in District 6, just like District 1.
You bringing up the grass?
Well, the grass,
coming with
that's
that.
a whole
I'm
different,
coming- well, I'm coming
yeah,
with
that's a
that
whole
out.
different fine.
I said, but I'm coming with that. We're gonna have a little.
Okay.
When we finish this tonight, before we move on to the next item, it's gonna be really quick.
So,
We're gonna hit the grass.
talking about flooding, and I know you're doing a great job with the city putting out barricades
we
all
got it.
over right now. People have to understand, if you have a barricade, and they go around a barricade,
That should be a fine.
that should be a fine.
Yes, yes. And we did something that we've never done because, again, we had problems we've never had. If you have a new problem, you
Yeah.
come up with a new solution. We have shagged almost all the barricades we have all over town, and we're telling citizens, we put them on the corners that have just showed to be the most highly flood prone. If it starts flooding, put them in the street. Do we normally tell people to block their own streets? No, we don't. But we're not gonna get there quick enough. This last flood taught us, if nothing else, they couldn't get out and we couldn't get there. So we shagged barricades out all over the place, which we've never done, and I expect that people will, because they've asked me for them. They're gonna put them in the road and block their road. We had people that were tempted to use their cars, and I was like, no, don't do that, then you're gonna flood your car out, but, so we have shagged barricades out all over town. Anyway,
Good, thank you.
yes, sir.
Will any changes to this language delay it?
Well, if you have a suggestion
amended.
between tonight, next 2 weeks, and we bring it back, no, because we can tweak it. As long as we stay in the vein of where we are, a word or two can be changed. If you
Yeah,
got
I
some
mean,
ideas.
small changes aren't a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had a short conversation this morning about the definition of a wake.
okay,
So it might just be something you wanna,
okay, that's
because
fine.
what is a wake? And it can be a short definition as having a white foam at the top or something to that effect.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
that's-
but just
Moving
just
water.
people who are not
I got a
boating
question.
people may not understand what a
Well,
wake
it
is.
says wake or wave. You know, I don't think you need a white cap here. I think you just need water.
Yeah,
No, but you
rising.
can't move through standing water without moving it, is my
true,
point.
true.
How much is a wave and how much is a
But it
wake?
says one that makes damage, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I'm
uh,
just,
Just don't move it to a house.
Yeah, don't move it into a house, but that, I know that's a weird.
just, no, I'm just saying
fine.
that,
No, I understand.
I don't wanna go through all this thinking we have something and it not be
I don't
what-
either, that's why we,
Yeah, so I'm just saying, if
Okay.
the house is already flooded and you're drawing and you're moving any amount of water, are you gonna be responsible for a house that's already got an inch of water in it?
well, if you
If you
goofing
got a
off
wake, no, I
off a
understand.
four-wheel drive truck, you might flood them for 2 or 3 more.
I'm for it, I'm
Oh, I
100%,
understand.
I'm just, it was a conversation about a wake this morning, what is a wake?
All right.
These were boating people that were talking
Okay,
about
no,
a
that's
wake.
fine. You,
But it's just something to consider,
Okay.
to better enforce it.
all right.
And on the same line, on the same lines, you know, if we have a vehicle that's caught on camera moving water down the street and it does not enter a residence or damage it, they're not subject to fine, am I correct?
Correct.
That's correct,
Correct.
okay. And not subject to fine. So, and along with the camera and the license plate of drive, we have to have sufficient damage, cause of damage in a residence to connect the dots before we find them. Am I correct? Jim?
Right, and I don't think this requires, electronic enforcement. You know, you could have an old-fashioned witness.
Right.
I think,
Okay,
who could,
that's another question.
you know, who could support that. Now, it's better if you have, you know,
Right.
Yeah, we thought
So if the homeowner's standing in the door of his house and he, red Chevrolet pickup truck just passed and I got water in my house, and I, you know.
it's a factual question, it's a proof question. You know, it's better if you have a video, you know,
Right.
but
Right.
this
We
does
would-
not say you can't use an old-fashioned witness.
Yeah, we were trying not to,
No,
you know,
that's
we're
not
trying to use the
understandable
technology we had, because
Yeah.
then it would be, there wouldn't be that burden of proof, we'd have it, you know?
Yeah.
No, and I agree with it. I just wanna make sure
No,
the
no, it's fine.
residents understand what we're after.
No,
and
that's
what
fine,
we're-
'cause
and what we're
and
trying
look,
to
this
achieve.
is, I don't know if anybody's ever done this.
No.
This is new.
I think just the idea of us doing something is gonna create
Well,
awareness.
you get in, we have, some of it is an old problem. I don't wanna say that we haven't had flooding before, because God knows we have, but in some areas, it's new. So when it's new on the volume we've had since I've been the mayor, some of these houses never flooded before, so it's new to me. So although there's a history. So my attitude is, when you address a new problem, you address it a new way.
I'm good with it.
Anybody else?
I'm done.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that the fine is perfectly fine. I know you said that it might have been a little too high,
Well, I
but
mean, you know.
$1,000 is nothing compared to the thousands of dollars of damage it causes
I
for
looked
those
at
business and homeowners. So I think that 1,000 is fine.
And in the past, we had, and they were very close to flooding this time, but they didn't. We had commercial businesses on Lewis Street. That's when I was in the road. I know I'm short. It was up to my waist, but I'm short. But they would not have flooded if it wasn't for the wake. I mean, I was going in and out the stores, going back in the street, trying to get people, and then when the big four-wheel drive started to, you know, sightsee, you could watch it roll over the threshold. So, anyway. All right, well then, this is, any other discussion? Then, if not, I'd ask you to vote your machines. Thank you. This will be coming back, and we have 2 weeks. If you see something, or from the verbiage to another question, or you got another idea, when we're doing something new, I need all the help I can get. So now we go to 5. No, wait, we got one more. 4F.
No, we're at 6A.
Wait, where are you at? Oh, yeah, I didn't check it. I'm sorry. 6A.
Discussion with project engineers Chandler Staples and Nick Castile on new and existing areas of flooding throughout the city of New Iberia.
Okay, I'm gonna start with Nick. Nick is our engineer with Fenstermaker, who helped us get the grant, and it is all about the pond. So I'll let Laney pull something up. Okay, we start out, and I mean, it's kind of all flood event, if you don't mind. You know, we had 6.8 inches of rain, and then we found other ones that said we had 7 point something. So we had a huge rain event, and that's the point of all of this, because we had so much, you know, localized flooding. We went ahead and tried to show the areas that flooded in the different parts of town. Priya Street area, Acadian, you can see Acadian Acres. Many of these houses are in the impact zone of the retention pond. The ones that aren't, and we do have some that aren't, that's what Chandler comes in to try to figure out, you know, what we're gonna do for those. There's your detention pond, just a rough layout. People are familiar with the old Echo Drive-In. Then it was a parish driving range. The city bought that. That's where the pond would be located. Fenstermaker helped us get the $3.1 million grant. We are waiting on the Corps permit and waiting on the final approval from the state. And then I know that we have the funds, and then I can move those funds that we have and start doing some more drainage projects. Yeah, and that's another area that had some extensive flooding, is along Plantation Drive in that area. So before we go to the rest, let's get Nick off the hook. Okay, so you want to tell us about the retention pond?
Sure. So this project is a 3.4 acre detention pond located just north of Acadian Acres. It is expected to help the area pretty considerably with drainage. This project is pretty close to its final stages. Like the mayor said, we are waiting on a Corps permit. We've been in communication with the Corps for going on 8 months now. We have been assigned a scientist by the Corps, which means they're actively reviewing our project and its files. They did make some comments after a field visit that they conducted on March 26th to the project area. So we are actively revising our drawings now to submit back to the Corps this week. Our hope is that they will be expeditious with us. I think John Kennedy's office is going to help us out. So that's great. The idea is that hopefully once we get a Corps permit, we update another document which is required by the LWI program called an environmental review record. The Office of Community Development, which administers the grant funds, indicates that should be about a month time between a Corps permit and finalizing that document. Once that has happened, funds should be released to the city and a notice to proceed issued to enter the bidding phase. Once we get to that point, we can couple of months to bid and contract, and we should be good to go. Any questions for me?
Comments, questions?
So
Yes, sir.
that pond is gonna have, it's gonna be an open pond, or it's gonna be a fenced-in pond? Did we get to that point yet?
It'll be open. It is worth mentioning that a lot of the residences in that area that front the city's property do have private fences. So there will be a barrier between.
So it is to take care of mostly what area of that?
Okay,
The whole Acadian Acre?
Acadian Acres,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yes, sir.
Is it gonna require the redirection of the water in some form by way of drainage culverts or a lot of digging? I'm asking.
It will, but very minorly. There's one structure that exists that will need to be upgraded between two homes that will take flow from the Juarez Street and Monterey Street area into the city's property past the existing outfall system, which runs along the rear of those homes that front Juarez Street, San Jacinto, and Exie Drive. About 50 feet of improvements near some homes, and then the rest should be all on city property.
In that direction.
The M10?
M10.
There's an existing subsurface outfall channel that goes along the southern edge of the detention
Black
pond.
line, right?
Yes.
The black line.
Yeah. That consists of twin 48-inch round RCP pipes, big pipes, and then eventually, as it goes north and turns southeast, that's a big 84-inch equivalent arch pipe that eventually outfalls into the M10 canal. So we're we're very minorly redirecting flow from that outfall system into the pond, so it can stage in the pond and build up instead of going out to the M10 and frankly backing up into the streets. Once it does that, it'll slowly trickle out into the M10.
We have a detention pond,
Correct.
not a retention.
Correct.
Yes.
Big
correct,
difference.
Correct.
Big difference.
Big difference.
You used to detentions.
So what you just said, the pipe's up here, and if the rain gets to the pipe's not down here.
Water.
Not the kind of detentions I had.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
knew that's what you were
Ricky's
talking
used to those
about.
detentions.
Yeah, we probably both.
Hey,
got some of
I
those.
know drainage.
And like the mayor mentioned, we still have a little bit of work to do on a Corps permit, but I do want to compliment the city and OCD. There are 39 projects that were awarded funding as part of round 2 of LWI. This project, I think, is very close, and there is only one project other than this that is in the bid phase out of 39. So we're moving along pretty good. I feel very good about our progress.
So no fret, I was worried about a red flag, but it looks like we in good shape.
I think we'll be all right.
Good to hear.
I hope
Been a
so.
long time coming.
Oh, the sooner the better. Whew.
Yeah. I'm glad to see that we're possibly gonna break ground soon.
Right.
But to buy a piece of property, figure out how to pay for it, hire an engineer,
There was a lot of steps
then
you
go through
did.
the grant process, which was thank God we got. Yeah, it's been a little bit of an adventure.
Think what got us on the edge is that we know we have some extra funding if we can get this moved to
Yeah,
do other
yeah.
things.
And I
We
got
can't-
so
we
many
can't pull the trigger
flooding.
on
I
it.
got so many flooding issues, but I could take that money and really do some damage.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
It's very, very strange to be in a seat and start a project and see it finished,
Right,
honestly. So,
yes.
Especially state, federal monies
Yeah.
involved.
And the core.
Yeah,
I heard the
Corps is
brakes
real.
lock up when you said the core.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got a few heavy guns helping us, and we need them. Ooh, it's a bit of an adventure. Okay, so
Thank you.
that's all we got for you, Nick.
Right.
So that way you
Thank
don't
you.
have to.
I'll be around if y'all have any.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you
Nick,
very
appreciate
much.
it.
And then let's go to the projects that we are already doing, because I do want to make it clear, okay? Last year, we awarded drainage projects from our ARPA money. We awarded it, all of them, by the end of the year, because we had to have that awarded by the end of the year, or we lost some of the ARPA funding. So we have 4 packages of canal cleaning. As we talked about before, we're cleaning every canal in the city. Now, we can only go up to the parish city line. We can't go into the parish. But we're cleaning every one that we can. So Area A, you want to tell us about we're going to go through each one of them.
Yeah, so Area A was completed a good while back. We did the Darby Lane, Richelieu Cooley, and Brookhaven Cooley. Darby Lane recently, we brought it up to the parish line, and recently I did see that the parish came in and they started taking out a couple of feet on their side. So that one is all the way cleaned out for the most part now, past Squirrel Run.
Good, good.
Area B is basically 99% finished. I'm waiting on the contractor to do a punch list item on East Santa Clara, and that one will basically be finished. All of the commercial canal, M10, which is behind Santa Clara, and then Admiral Doyle at Marigold. And as soon as he's completed his project, we have the clear lien and everything, so that is, you could basically consider that one finished. And then he started on Area C. He's probably got another month to finish Area C. He started at Sandalwood, continued through Rue Royale. I think Texaco and Main Street will go fairly quickly. They're a little bit smaller. And as soon as we can get through C, like I said, in about a month, he should be on D,
And
which
C is a lot of people's backyards.
It
So
is-
C has been slower
It has
than,
been slow.
any of us would have wanted, but we in people's backyards, we got to respect that. It takes a while.
Yeah, C was a little bit more, it was a slower project, but we've kind of gotten to the point where he can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So hopefully that leads us right into D.
And D is T by U, and we'll tell them all of them.
Right, T by U being the main one, as you can see there in purple. We got a piece on Bayard, Freeman Street Cooley, which is off of Admiral Doyle, and then Camellia Street is our ad alternate at the end, which is off of Jane. So we're definitely going to do the first 3, and then the third one, if money allows, we'll complete Camellia.
Okay. And we have a map of T by U?
And C
I
is not
just-
complete.
No.
C is not complete.
They
We
got
got
one
a
of Texaco and that other one.
bottom month, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Okay.
Yes,
I
sir.
just wanted to get a graphic. If you look at T by U, the black area is what's in the city. Okay, so that will come in the package D, and then just show people the rest of T by U. Yeah, because it goes all the way to Lake Dotrieve. So the rest of that would need to be cleaned by the parish, but our part, kind of flip it back, just so that people understand, because I think some people thought we were cleaning all of T by U, but we can only clean what's in the city. So that area is what we'll be starting in about a month.
Mayor, I got a question.
Sure.
T by U, you have a part of T by U that's each side of T by U is in the city. But you have part of T by U that only one side is in the city. What happens in that? We just clean it like totally
So
with the city funds?
We did get rights of way from the city residents to clean, so we're gonna have to stay on their side when we get to that part.
Yeah,
of
we'll just
T-Valley.
clean it from one side.
And we can clean it, for the most part, from one side. It shouldn't be that big of an issue.
So you saying like the plantation and those streets, we'll be cleaning them from that side?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Whenever we get near, like Timberstone on the south side, where that switches to the parish, we'll be working from one side. Now, our contractor, Iberia Aggregates, James Stein, he has the ability to get private right-of-way if he wants to, and he can go work on that private right-of-way if he gets permission from the owner.
So he does that, we don't have to do it?
Correct.
Correct.
And he's talked about he will try to do that. It would be easier to
If
clean
he
from both
needs
sides.
to, he will do that, and I'm confident that he would get it done. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's gonna be cleaned somehow, some way, and we're gonna begin on the city side first and see what you know, what we can
And,
get.
and when we're talking about T-by-U, we only talking about the open ditch of T-by-U where it's open, not,
Correct. So it begins right off of Lewis by the hospital. That's the beginning. Those big culverts don't enter T-by-U, so we're gonna start there and you, just west of Emile Verret's where the city limits line is, and
so how far are we from Emile Verret's bridge?
that, the map you see here is pretty accurate. I don't have a footage for you, but we, you know, we,
Yellow line, isn't it? Emile Verret.
correct, the yellow line being Emile Verret and the black line being where we stopped. So that's, just past maybe
About less than a quarter
Evergreen.
mile.
Yeah,
So right past Evergreen?
Correct, yes, sir.
yes. And Chandler brought up a good point. I just want to clarify something. All of the flooding that we had around the Highland area and all those streets around there, none of that water goes to T-by-U. That water goes to the 260s that are underground. Does a 90 right behind the hospital, goes into some big 72s that go to Bayou Teche. Because many people, as we went through the neighborhood and had meetings, thought that the water went to T-by-U. Now, we do have areas that benefit from T-by-U, but I just wanted to state that that water doesn't go there.
Now, such as you said, the reason I'm questioning, because I've been representing that area for
Oh, I know.
forever. But T-by-U used to go where we went and looked today,
Yes,
went with a
Yeah.
ditch all the way. And so when we
Past
piped
Highland.
it, it's still called T-by-U.
Correct, yes, sir.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
go
just
to
underground.
T-by-U like we,
correct. They're not wrong in saying their drainage
Right.
has something to do with T-by-U, but it's been diverted.
that's right, it's been diverted. That's
Somewhere between 72 and 75 or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know when they put all that in, but
I think that was a lot of misunderstanding
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
But it's still called T-by-U, but it's piped
it just
T-by-U.
pipes.
It
Yes,
doesn't open.
yes.
Yep.
And we found some washouts. Dan and
Yeah.
I visited a site today. Joe was well aware of that. And look, with all this drainage stuff, my hope is to move quickly. As Chandler finds problems that Public Works can handle, then the plan is, like, you might have some 18-inch pipes for a little short run that could be 24s, or they're tying into a 30, could all be 30s. There might be some instances that we could make inlets bigger, that we could change a drain cover. So all those things, as he identifies them, I'll be using drainage money in the account to do those things in-house, because we can move faster while we're waiting on the big projects to be designed and planned and publicly bid. So the small stuff, my hope is, Joe and I, now we have to run them by Chandler, we keep finding, we went today and found a very small pipe that I was like, wait a minute, I bet we can make that bigger. Looked at the drainage map that we have that's probably 45 years old, 50 years old, and the rest of the pipes were 6 inches bigger. Well, we're gonna go to Chandler and say, okay, do cost-benefit analysis, for that 6 inches, do we pick up enough drainage that it's worth doing it? Because some instances you're cracking the street, some instances, you're doing major work. If it will relieve the flooding, and we can use all drainage money to do that, well, then we're gonna do it.
And the mayor's correct, that you're not gonna have to wait till we finish to learn of these things. As soon as we find stuff that Public Works can do, we'll be in communication with the mayor and, allow them to get that going. So that at the end of the investigation, we're talking about the major solutions or the bigger solutions to each area.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do you know by any chance, from where the T-by-U is in the city limits to the lake, what the drop is, the elevations are?
I've heard a couple of different, anecdotal statements about it. Some people say it's higher, some people say it's only 3 feet difference.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not,
It's not
right,
enough.
correct. Whatever
It's
it
not
is,
enough.
it's
Yeah,
not quite
so
perfect.
just to add to that, the answer is not always just digging it deeper.
Correct.
Because eventually the lake's gonna start dumping into T-by-U.
Yeah.
And I would also note that I looked at some maps, because I have owned some property on T-by-U, that 100 years ago, the Oak Manor, the ditch at Oak Manor, which is T-by-U, was only 2 or 3 feet deep.
It's amazing.
So the water, the elevation was 12 feet higher
Yeah.
than it is now, the ditch bottom.
Correct.
So it naturally went that way with less effort.
Old Manor.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because you could jump the ditch to get to the part that's on the south side, the 4 acres there, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mayor,
Thank you.
I think,
I noticed that all of the displays that were showed is mostly north Bayou Teche. Am I correct?
It's in between.
Seem like all of them, and more or less in pertaining to T Bayou, and everything seemed like it's feeding into Bayou Teche. Am I correct?
We did do Commercial Canal, which is on the south side, but a lot of what we're doing is related to the Bayou Teche, yes, sir.
And the surveys that we're looking at right now in regards to the flooding is basically in some of the same area.
Well, anywhere we had flooding, basically.
Well, but
you know,
looking
yeah,
at it.
at the last flood event, that's where we had flooding. The canal cleaning, we cleaned every canal we could find that was in the city. But with this incident right now, we starting with, that doesn't mean we're not looking everywhere else, but we're starting with where did we have flooding we hadn't had before of houses.
Right. And reason why I asked, I didn't see
Yeah.
the Hopkins Street area with the big drainage that we
Correct.
have coming on
Correct.
Hopkins Street.
We didn't have-
Going back to Bayou Teche as well.
Which it is. We didn't have any flooding this time, so, but that doesn't mean it's not an important project. It's underway. So the Armico pump station is really doing its job. There is a time at some point we gotta go shut it off or we would back flood ourselves. But that has eliminated a lot of flooding that I was here before we had that project, and we had a lot of house flooding. That has helped. The new project that is a state project, and we're not directly spending money on it, so I didn't include it with this, but it's a wonderful project, although it's a giant inconvenience. The street's getting all busted up. They have new boxes going all the way to Bayou Teche. They started at your lowest point, which is Bayou Teche. That's why they've already done Jane Street. They've come up. They're at the block between Main and St. Peter right now. Soon they'll hit the next block. We had meetings with all the businesses on Hopkins Street, a month ago, just to let them know what's coming so they could plan. We got the engineer with DOTD to coordinate with those businesses because they're gonna be doing it a block at a time, but people are gonna be inconvenienced. But that main drainage project will go a long way to increase, the lack of problems in the West End. But we haven't had a lot of flood, and believe me, when we have some, we're documenting it. We're gonna send, we are having, my plan is to hit these areas first, issue those contracts, look at where we are. My hope is that it's almost there, but you gotta be cautious, is that the 3 million from the state comes through, and then I have 3 million more to run around all of rest of areas of New Iberia that, even some that haven't been impacted yet, that we could do some things to improve.
I just didn't want to have a misconception of what's what,
Yeah.
because, like I
That's why I
said,
didn't put it, because it's millions of dollars, but we weren't spending,
in the areas of District 5 and 2, a lot of the houses are elevated. I rode the area during the flood, and there were a lot of flooded streets with a lot of retainage of water, okay? And I know we have that project, Hopkins Street, which feeding back into Bayou Teche. So I don't want the water coming from the north side over the south side of the bayou, in other words, or, get into the issue with Bayou Teche itself, getting a high level rise and it comes back. I'm not an engineer. I'm not trying to be. I just don't want to be misconceived of what's really going on.
Understand.
Getting ahead of it, in other words.
That's fine. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So just a couple, and I've spoken to Chandler and the mayor on several issues, but first of all, we can only do so much, but the outfall, obviously the parish controls, and we're gonna need some help from the other side of this coin to help us move water. I'm very disappointed in the outfall of the parish currently of what they have done and what they've accomplished to assist the city in drainage, but that doesn't mean we're not gonna stop working and doing our part, and the mayor's agreed to do that. So hopefully they get this message and they know that we need to drain our city and can use some assistance. On the same note, I think that there's several problems that people are not realizing because we never can we design a drainage structure for a 500-year flood event. It's infeasible.
10 years.
10 year, whatever.
10 years is what we designed to.
It's infeasible. We can't spend that kind of money, but we're gonna address these problems as best we can, and I think we can make a significant impact in some way or form. I do have some ideas. I spread with Chandler. This could be a possibility of joint effort with the parish on T-Bayou to assist others. We'll have to talk about it. I think the more complicated problem is by Highland, with that situation, but I think we got the right man.
And Summerfield is the most
Yes,
complicated.
and
It was built too low. It was annexed into the city after it was built, and we don't know if it's gonna be a pond, a pump, or what we can do. But that's one
That's right.
We do have
And
some
there was
areas
Was built wrong, right?
Yeah, we do have some areas that, you know, we're not saying we can fix everything, but we'll give it the best shot we can.
But, you know, to the general public, we hear you, we see it,
Certainly.
we're meeting with you, and we're on your team, and we're gonna do our very best to help assist in the flooding events. We wish this wouldn't have happened, but at the same time, this is what we're here for, to hear your complaints, and we'll fix it together. And I just wanna get that message across.
Good, and remember, I gotta talk about grass before we finish. Yes, sir.
Mayor, I
I'm
remember
not losing the opportunity, it's okay.
about Amico Canal years back, Miss Peggy brought pictures of where those houses were flooded.
Oh, yeah.
And Amico Canal really took care, I mean, a
You don't see
big
it
part of
flooded.
it. And we spent years to get monies, and the city put monies, the state put money for that project. It took many a years to
Well,
do it. And
Mr.
she was one
Bruce-
thing, before I leave here,
Yeah.
it will get done, and we went and cut that ribbon. I remember that like
I
it
do,
was
I do.
yesterday.
And Mr. Broussard got railroad money,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
But-
he convinced, well, I mean, he didn't
If
take it,
you
he
wouldn't have had that
convinced him.
structure, they'd have flooded
Oh,
this
no
last week.
doubt.
Oh, yeah, but we took that money, remember, and moved it.
But second thing is when we do have these rains and the streets flooded, that's okay. We don't want the houses to flood.
Correct.
People call and say, they got 600 inches of water. Some of these streets are designed to hold the water.
That's where the water
Terrell
goes.
Court is,
That's
it
exactly
was a
right.
sugarcane field when I was a councilman, and we made a subdivision, and the only way we could make it work is make the street the drainage. So you go on Terra Court, and they got water in the street all the time, but some of these streets are designed for that. But we still rather it be on the street than in the house. And that's, people don't, you know, sometimes you can't get out your driveway, but that's better than going in your house. So people do sometimes call, complain about the streets being flooded. That's okay for a little while. So we just
And
want
the
to,
fact that our system works, it goes down. Look at how
Quick.
fast the water
Oh, my
went
God.
down. All right, it's not that our system is not working, it was overloaded.
Yeah.
If you pour 6 gallons of water in a 5-gallon bucket, it ain't gonna all fit, and that's kind of pretty much what happened to it.
what's your projection on time-wise when we got that 6.5, 7.5 inches? How much time that took for that rain here?
It's somewhere around an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Is what
Yeah.
I'm understanding. So we will back that into an intensity, and it'll be very easy to see where that falls, 100-year storm.
Right.
You know, or greater. And it's true, it's, you know, you don't necessarily want to design for those
We couldn't afford
worst-case
it.
disasters. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
feasible, but we can improve it.
Thank you.
Everybody good? Okay, the last thing, I'm just gonna pop this in real quick. I will be bringing the grass clippings in the street ordinance back, because as we're cleaning stuff, I'm telling you, the grass clippings are everywhere. We almost got there one time before, so I'm gonna kind of make the assumption to tell you where we could fix it, okay? We got caught on the big debate of if the owner of the property got the ticket or the contractor got the ticket, okay? Well, it's gonna be different. In other words, if an owner's cutting his grass and he puts it in the street, he needs to get the ticket. If a contractor cuts it, okay, just like myself as a general contractor, air conditioning contractor, general contractor, we pull permits. When we do something wrong, the owner doesn't get in trouble. We do because we did the work. So if you got a grass contractor, I think it should be the grass contractor that gets the fine, because he's in that business and heads up, he should know what he can do and can't do. If an owner cuts the grass, they should get the fine if they threw it in the road. So with that simple premise, just like we did the wake one, I'm going to bring another ordinance. I'd like to bring it to the next meeting, and there will be a fine. I don't think that fine should be $1,000, okay? So I'm open to suggestions.
Not gonna be 50.
Yeah, I understand,
No.
but we need to come up, I'll bring something next time, and then we'll do what we do well, which is discuss it and figure it out. But I think that's the other piece of the puzzle that's missing, because when you're fighting for 1 inch, when people's houses are flooding by 1 inch or 2 inches, they got a lot of the same problems if it flooded by 6 inches. So anything that we can do to help and get that water flowing, so that'll be one that I'll be bringing back. I didn't want to miss this momentum of, you know, flood issues, not to try again. So, I think that's it. That was our last item. What's that? Oh, capital outlay. Let's talk about that. Can put that one up. Thank you. I just want people to know that it's not this event. We've been thinking about flooding, and we know we got issues. We all live here. So last year, I put in for our capital outlay in October. You voted on it. You helped me with it. So we were going to put up a, let's see, 1.2 million to try to get 3.8 million for drainage. So that's still in the works. I don't know what we're going to get. I have talked to our state rep. We also were trying to get additional money to use the money we had right now before we spend it on roads to get more money for roads. So I talked to them this week, and last week, so that's still in play. So I just wanted people to see that, we are reacting to the problems. We want you to know we care. We want you to know that we are addressing the issues. At the same time, the retention pond was long coming. We've been asking for more drainage money. We've been stockpiling, all of the little nickels we could to launch some big drainage projects. So this might have helped speed us up or made a catalyst or send us in a new direction with new flooding. But I just wanted the citizens to realize that as a group, we realize we live in flat South Louisiana and we're always going to have flooding issues. I think that's it. So with that, I'll move to item 7, which is councilman remarks. I'll start on this side. Councilman Dandal.
Mayor, I want to thank the city and your administration for trying to address some of these things. We had some neighborhood meetings about the flood, and we feel so bad what happened, but there's just so many things the city can do without knowing that it was happening. In my district, I think I got hit pretty hard, just like Brooks did, and we had houses flood that never flooded before.
Yep.
Houses that flooded before didn't flood. I mean, you can't even make sense of it. The main thing is that we are concerned about it, and it's never good or fast enough. But I know when the mayor came to meetings that we had in our district, had the engineer, had the public works, had everybody there to fix the problem. After you find out the problem, you can't just do something where you think, and that's why I think the money we're spending for the engineer is worth everything we got, because we might think one way, they might think one way, because some of the information that's out there was not correct, what they thought, but some of these homeowners just heard that. So you have to feel for what they heard, but sometimes what you hear is not the truth, or it's misinformation someone just doesn't know. One thing we do know that there's a problem, and we're gonna try to fix it, and the mayor got money put aside to fix it, but it's something that no one predicted, and it's sad to see some of those homes that what had happened to, but at the end of the day, we're gonna react, and look, the monies that he's talking about putting out already. So it's not just talk, it's a reaction, and I appreciate that, because until you get hit, I'm lucky, I didn't get flooded, but I know people that got flooded, and it disturbs your life. I mean, and then some had insurance, some didn't have insurance, and there's just so much that you can do. The neighbors all came together. That's one thing I can say. People that didn't have flooded houses were talking to people that had flooded houses. Everybody was trying to help each other out. That's one thing about living in New Iberia and some of these subdivisions, these smaller neighborhoods, they do help each other. And nothing but, a handshake or a hug, that's all someone wanted. But I just applaud the council and how aggressive we getting about what we want to do. And I hope the patience is there for the public to know that we can't just do it without action of this council. We can't just do it because we think it's the right thing to do. And the mayor's gonna make sure it's the right thing to do, because with the engineer being at every meeting, this is not just talk. And I hope it doesn't happen again. We look in the next couple of days, we don't know what's gonna happen. And I know these people, they feel like every time it rains or any kind of rainstorm, you freak out because it might flood. But we can't control that. We can only control the water to some point. But I want to thank everybody. I think most of the districts that had problems, that their representation was there. And but I feel for them, and just want to let them know that they can call us. We can go see it, but we can't fix it until all the homework's done. So I appreciate it, Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes. With this flooding event, which was abroad, covered a lot of area, it's hard to predict Mother Nature. All we can do is sometimes be reactionary. But I want to say thanks to the patience of everybody in the area that did deliver the patience, and some offered assistance for helping cleaning the drains, and most of that. Seemingly, our system did work because the water went down pretty fast after we did what we have to do, and we're trying to get on top of it. So with that said, we say thanks, and we're trying to be proactive rather than reactive with everything that the mayor said they're putting in place for this expected event. I'd like to also say that with some of the road move projects and stuff that's coming up, we ask for your patience with the crews that's working in your area. That's your tax dollars going at work. But we do need your patience in understanding that, it's going to take a little time to get done. The roofs that we spoke of tonight, that's going to be done also. That's, again, patience and time. So the panel that you see here with the council, we're working hard to try to do the best thing that's needed, and put your dollars to work. So we appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, there's not a whole lot to say after Dan took 20 minutes. to all of the flood event, but
18, only 18 minutes, Mr.
it was only 18.
Now we got time limit.
Dan violated the three.
around
He
here.
violated the 3-minute rule. But no, good information. No, I'm not gonna reiterate and expound on. These gentlemen said exactly what happened, but I will tell you this: visiting with these people, all of us up here, we don't know everything. The information we're getting back from people are astounding of what's happening to their homes and how it's being affected, and that's things that we need to know to address the issues. So please share the information with us. Let us know what's happening, how you think it's happening, because we convey this information to our staff and our people, and it helps us rectify the problem. But we're here, we're standing together during these flood events, and please stay safe tonight. I just looked at the forecast. It looked like it's getting worse by the minute, but I think it's going to be a long, prolonged rain, not a quick rain, and call if you need. We're here to help.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, thank you for sharing all the preparation and the applications for grant money and all the projects that you have coming for what seems to be maybe a year or two that you've been working on this, that you and the staff. So I wasn't aware of all that work that you've already done and you have in place to take effect. So it's good to know that since some of us are just getting here, I didn't realize you had that many projects in ready to go. So that tells me that that you've had the council before us, you and the staff have had some vision and some work ahead. It's not just a reaction to what's going on. So we're not just sitting, you hadn't been just sitting on your hands, you and the previous council. So I'm thankful to hear that. Thank you. Thanks for sharing it.
I'm gonna be a little short, okay? I want these people to know that we are doing the work, we're elected to do the work, and we're doing work in our district and our city. And I just wanted to know the senior citizen building, I was there today, even though it rained and it hailed a little bit, we still had some senior citizens came out and we had bingo for them. And anybody want to donate prizes, they can, and hope it is more and more coming, it's growing, so that's about it.
Did you call bingo?
I didn't call this time. I was there just watching,
Oh, okay.
overseeing everything.
I want to thank the mayor, mayor pro tem, engineers, all for coming out to the meeting with my district yesterday. I know the residents appreciate being able to have that one-on-one time with you guys. And, they know the plan. They know that it's been in the works for a long time. So for some of them, it was really just an update because they've been hearing about it from us. But we know we need to do something, and everyone's being very proactive this go around, which is great. The last storm caught us off guard. I didn't even know it was supposed to rain even a little bit, much less the storm that we had. But I'd rather be over-prepared than under-prepared. On a good note, the Pepperplex was able to accommodate a softball tournament Sunday at the last minute. That was amazing. So I got good feedback from someone that was there. Everyone was very appreciative of it. They said it was such a nice facility. And then there's another tournament coming this weekend.
Yes.
So there's 17 teams so far in that tournament. And so we'll have some visitors in town. That's good news for us.
Amen.
Yes, thank you.
Good stuff. And on the Pepperplex, talked to the architect this morning about some other projects. They're fast working on the contract documents. So a couple of months, I think, maybe 3 months, we should be bidding the next phase. So And that's the last biggest phase we'll do, and I think we'll really have a finished facility by the time that's done. But I was proud that they called, and for the next day, we could get a tournament going. Because, the big thing is to get all the staff. They didn't know they were coming, so that's the hard part. But Richard pulled that together quickly, and that shows me that we can pull something together quickly, so that's good news. Good news. Cool, I don't really have anything tonight. It's at Planning and Zoning. They had a meeting. It was rescheduled from May the 8th. That'll be on June the 4th. Is the next Planning and Zoning meeting. That's about it. I'm gonna look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Thank you.